Hey everyone, I'm Andy Raffel from eTeknix.com, and you may remember a little video that we did where we kind of went through the week's latest news. Well, that was actually pretty well received, so we thought we'd do another one. But this time, we're going to be looking at what to expect from CES 2019. Let's take a look. So the first one that we want to talk about is probably the most important one. We're talking about AMD and kind of what they're going to be offering up. So Lisa Su is actually going to be having kind of a press conference for AMD, talking through various different things from processors to graphics cards, even, some embedded and mobile stuff from what we hear. So talking about graphics cards, I guess the first thing sort of that we're expecting there is, 7nm. So we're talking Navi, we're talking coming from, what we kind of have at the moment, which is your kind of typical 14nm, 12nm. Obviously Nvidia have sort of got all their stuff with the RTX series, but we just want something, a little bit better. Now, when it comes to 7nm, that means that everything is slightly smaller. It means that it's going to run more efficiently, it's going to run cooler, it's going to run faster. So it should be good things all around. Now, whether this actually comes to fruition or not is a completely different story. But it'd be really interesting to see, even if they give us a very, very small glimpse of kind of what 7nm is all about. Now, the reason that we actually think 7nm is going to be at CES is AMD have never really done a huge press conference. I don't think they've actually ever done a press conference at CES. So this is a big sort of move for them. So why would they have a press conference if they didn't have anything spectacular to announce? Now, it doesn't mean that Navi is going to be released at CES. It just means maybe they're going to whet our appetites a little bit and sort of show us, what's to come in the future. So it'd be really interesting to sort of see, if that actually happens. Obviously, we will have coverage and everything on that as well, but they will have a live stream if you want to check that out personally yourself. Just head over to eTeknix.com and you'll find all the information on that as it actually develops during CES. So sticking with AMD, the other key important thing is obviously third generation Ryzen. So this will be the third year of Ryzen, so it makes sense for the third generation of Ryzen to come out. So as we know, the kind of flagship in the Ryzen, sort of Threadripper aside, is the 2700X, but they're actually going sort of one more than that. So looking at the specs here, we've got the Ryzen 9 3800X. Pretty sure you'll see why they've gone with Ryzen 9. It's to combat against Intel's i9 with their 9900K. But what we've essentially got here is 16 cores, 32 threads operating at 3.9 GHz with a turbo clock of 4.7 GHz. With a TDP of only 125 watts. I mean, the problem with the i9 9900K and other similar i9 processors is they run freakishly hot. Whereas this 125 watts isn't exactly, that hot really. So we're actually expecting good results from that. Essentially, this is probably a bit more concrete information that they're going to be launching the third generation compared to sort of Navi, like we spoke about earlier, but either way should be very, very good. So now moving away from AMD and moving over to the green camp. So obviously we've got Nvidia. Now, Nvidia released the 20 series of cards, quite recently, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. So we've got the 2080 Ti, the 2080, and then the newest one, which is the 2070. So Nvidia always kind of do it this way round. They start kind of the flagship and work their way down. I've actually got a little bit of thinking behind that. Maybe it's because what actually happens is people start saving up for the 2080 Ti and then bam, there's the 2080 and they go, you know what? I've actually got the money for this. I'll go out and buy the 2080. Or other people are saving up for the 2080 and then there's the 2070. They go, well, I've already got the money. I was going to buy that, but yeah, sod it. I'll go and buy the 2070. Well, now the next one down in the pecking order is obviously the RTX 2060, but there is talk of GTX as well. So GTX kind of 2060, so essentially a 2060 without ray tracing. Maybe it's possible, but we do have some quite concrete information on that. So there's been leaked pricing on it, on the models and the specifications. There's been leaked images of a Zotac card, so kind of everything's essentially sort of lining up into place. Now, price wise for the 2060, we've been told from sort of, quite reliable sources, $349. But then we've seen some retailers recently that have shown, slightly different amounts to that. But I guess we'll know more during CES. Essentially, it makes sense for Nvidia to kind of announce the RTX 2060 there. So, we will find out more about that. Now, going back to the 2080 and the 2080 Ti, obviously we've had quite a few different models out. I've got quite a few of them actually next to me in terms of 2080, 2080 Ti and 2070. But the only sort of, real kind of extreme cards that we've seen have been from sort of, ASUS. We've had a couple of EVGA ones, but the whole kind of stack hasn't actually come out from these brands. So what we have actually seen now is Zotac sort of teasing sort of here and there through way of leaks. I'm not saying that Zotac have leaked it, but the leaks are out there. So we got the Zotac RTX 2080 Ti Arctic Storm, and then MSI with their Lightning Z 2080 Ti. So there has been some leaks of the PCB and things like that as well. So essentially it's just taking 2080 Ti and moving it right up into the extreme segment. So if you think that they're expensive now, wait until the Zotac Arctic Storm and the MSI Lightning Z launch, because they're going to be a lot of money. So other than that, obviously with Nvidia we have the mobile graphics. So essentially when we do see new cards come out, so the RTX 2080, 2080 Ti, you are typically going to expect them to come to the mobile platform as well. So again, there has been leaks of RTX 2080 MXM-OC, RTX 2070 MXM-OC, and then 2060 MXM-OC. So no word on a 2080 Ti mobile sort of version yet. I think if anyone's going to do it, it's probably either going to be Razer or ASUS with their Zephyrus. They're going to maybe, you know, mark it down to like a Max Q design, something like that. So maybe we will see a 2080 Ti mobile edition at some point, but for now it just seems like 2080. So there's been a little bit of information on that. The other kind of big thing about Nvidia is with the 2060, what memory is it actually going to come with? So I've actually got it in front of me here. We've got either, ready? There's a few choices. You could get an RTX 2060 with 6 gig of GDDR6, or 6 gig of GDDR5, or 4 gig of GDDR6, or 4 gig of GDDR5, or 3 gig of GDR6, or 3 gig of GDDR5. So what one are you going to go for? Essentially, obviously that's going to reflect pricing and things like that, but I just think that it's a little bit overkill. Maybe, you know, 2 different models. We could have, I don't know, maybe even 4. We could have the 6 gig GDDR6 and GDDR5, and then you could have the 3 gig model. Like they did with the 1060, you could buy a 3 gig or a 6 gig variant, and obviously the pricing was about £20 to £30 difference. But I mean, do you really still need GDDR5? It's got to be down to obviously stock issues and what they've actually still got, you know, stock of in terms of the memory and things like that. Other than that, obviously there's going to be a load of other new stuff at CES as well. So we're expecting 8K TVs to be a bit more prevalent. Last year there were like a few shown off, but they were stupidly high priced and they never really came to market. So we're expecting a little bit more on 8K TVs. Obviously a lot more with AR and VR as well. So, you know, it's still a developing technology, I guess you could say, but there is sort of some progression with it as well. So, you know, it'd be interesting to sort of see what happens there. Laptops, apparently LG are planning to unveil their ultra lightweight laptop. So it'd be interesting to see obviously what happens with that. And then like I mentioned, with the M series, Nvidia 20 series kind of graphics built in. So it'd be interesting to see if anything happens there. I think if anyone's going to have anything, it will be Nvidia directly, and then probably ASUS, Acer, those sort of companies, maybe even Razer as well. Now, the next one is a little bit out there. So I'm a massive fan of Back to the Future, one of the greatest movie franchises ever, and one of the only films where the sequel was actually better than the first one. You may agree with that, you may not, but let me know in the comment section below if you do. Now, on that note, apparently there's going to be flying cars at CES. So yeah, it's a bit out there, a bit crazy, a bit wild. I don't even know how that's gonna sort of happen. Are they gonna have it in like the parking lot, or are they actually gonna have it inside the building, kind of hovering there? I really don't know, but yeah, apparently there's a couple of companies who are developing flying cars, and they're going to be at CES. So I'm really actually looking forward to seeing that one. Other than that, Segway are preparing the unveiling of a delivery robot. So maybe this is kind of the next step for Amazon Prime in trying to get your deliveries out there as quickly as possible, getting it onto a Segway and essentially getting it delivered to your door. Other than that, we have information on 5G. So apparently 5G is going to be not launching at CES, but there's going to be more information on it. But to be honest, I remember going to CeBIT about 3 or 4 years ago when CeBIT was still kind of, you know, a going kind of, you know, in show. And there was talk when, God, it may actually have been longer than that, because David Cameron was Prime Minister. He actually came over, had talks with Deutsche Telekom, and said that the UK was going to be the first country in the world to have 5G. Here we are in 2020 now, 2019, and we still haven't actually got 5G. So I'm going to take that with a pinch of salt and throw it away. Other than that, there's going to be obviously a lot of cool stuff at CES. So there's going to be new memory, there's going to be new SSDs, new motherboards, EVGA have got a lot of stuff going on, ASUS, Gigabyte. There's going to be a lot of stuff from EK, Bits Power. So much stuff that I can't really fit it into one video. So let me know in the comment section below, what are you most looking forward to at CES 2019? So I'll be at the show getting lots of videos. We'll have Pete with me as well, and he'll be getting lots of kind of article coverage through photos and stuff like that, putting loads of stuff on social media, so be sure to check all that out. And like I say, let me know in the comment section below, what are you kind of most looking forward to at CES 2019? I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye. See you later.